We're on. We're on and you're drinking coffee. What is up with that?
Just so you know, this is coffee and it's my Wisconsin mug. So
Well, I got coffee too. This is my Doug mug.
there you go. If we start doing these on Fridays, I can't guarantee the same sort of thing. But right now. All right. Well, listen, want to welcome everybody to the webinar today. And as you know, or from the webinars we've done before, I'm Randy Reed, and that's Doug Rankin. And the fact of the matter is, we're just a couple of karate guys. He's presently running a very successful martial arts school and other businesses down at Warren Robin. There he is. We were wondering when Bailey was going to start barking.
It's not even a minute in.
Well, and that's why the point I was getting to for us karate guys, we're not professional webinar presenters, and we're not smart enough to get the dog out. He doesn't want to go. So you may get to listen to Bailey for part of the webinar. And at certain points, he'll probably make as much sense as I do as we're going through this thing. But Doug and I started a little program 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was. And to help martial arts schools called Dojo Max. We've come up with some different systems. And one of the things we've been doing for people is we've been supplying VAs for them. And I get a lot of questions about VAs. So we thought, well, let's do a webinar and tell everybody what we found out about hiring and utilizing webinar VAs, and see if maybe there's something we can help them with and take it from there.
Sounds good.
So hopefully we wasted enough time right now that everybody's on here. And the first thing I want everybody to understand is I watched a webinar last week that lasted about an hour and 20 minutes. This one's probably going to last about 25 minutes tops. And there's a formula that everybody teaches on how to sell with a webinar. And you go through this whole process and you tell a big story and you find what do they call it? Find a problem and you agitate it and then you give them the answer. And if you look at, if you look at the bottom, we're just a couple karate guys. We've got some very successful schools we work with. Doug's very successful. We're just going to tell you about it. That's how we're not going to play the game. But if you want to, if an extra $1 million a year would help you, raise your hand and tap $1 million in the box.
Well, I got two hands raised.
Oh, Jesus. God, I hate that stuff. All right, so let's get this thing rolling. This is brought to you by, of course, Dojo Max. That's kind of this arm of Dojo Nation that has some different products for people. No big deal. If you want to see what it is, go to dojomaxrocks.com and knock around in there. We change it every day, though. All right, let's get started. So to begin this, we want to begin with the end in mind, and this really is about time and your money, all of which comes from students. I have a heartfelt belief and something that I believe with every fiber of my body is that every kid should learn how to swim and every kid should go through a 4-year martial arts program and achieve their black belt. That's a core belief of mine. And if we provide that at the level we should be capable of, the student themselves should have life improving changes in their life. And we should be able to have the time to enjoy our life and the money to have options. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough or unfortunate enough, however you want to be around some pretty wealthy people in my life. And I never saw a big correlation between a lot of money and a lot of happiness. But I did see that having a lot of money gives people options to do things, to be happy or be unhappy. So if we can find things and systems and ways to have more time, then that's a good thing. If we have more money, then that gives us more options. I would just, as I'm saying this highly scripted thing that I've done, one of my students, Matt Schaefer, I think he has 350 students in a small town in Wisconsin, does extremely well. He spends very little time at his martial arts school. He's worked it for a lot of years. He has great systems, great staff. And what he really wants to do now, and has done for the last 4 or 5 years, is raise his kids. He wants to be home with his 4 children. To me, that God bless him, and he loves it. And his point is, I'm only going to have, by the time they're teenagers, they're not going to want to hang around with dad anymore, and I want to spend this time with them. And it's neat that he gets to do that. We have other students, another one who just bought a multi-million-dollar building, and is building a huge program, and they're down there working really hard down in Teresa Weidman. They bought a 29,000 square foot building, and they're cranking in Madison, Wisconsin. They're still in that growth mode. Their kids are out of the house, and they want to build one more big program. So having the time and the money is really opens up all these different options of how you want to use it. And that's kind of where the VAs come in, is what can they do, and how can they help you facilitate that. So as I don't know if y'all heard, it was in the news, we had a pandemic a while back, and
the monkeypox thing.
Yeah, no, that's the next one coming
Oh.
out. Yeah, we got bunches of them. I don't know, who knows what it's going to be next. I saw something the other day where they said 2 kids have monkeypox in the United States, and I don't know how many hundreds of millions of kids there are in the United States, but I guess they found it that they should blast it all over the news because 2 of them had something. But that's a whole other story.
Slow news day, that's all.
Yeah. So what did happen during the pandemic, if there's any, what do you call it, a little bit of a silver lining, it got us all to understand the power of virtual learning, of doing things virtually. It forced everybody to learn. I wish I'd have owned a bunch of stock in Zoom.
Me too.
It forced everybody to learn how to use that. It proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that work can get done outside of the office building. And now you have all these people, these businesses that are going, I've got a $20 million building and parking and everything. I can get rid of all of that, and people can work from home. So it's become much more mainstream, and that's opened up the possibilities of a lot of different things. One of which is for martial arts schools to utilize help outside of their schools. So what can a VA do? What can a virtual assistant do? And, you got to put something up here. We could put 19 lists. Basically, they can do almost anything that doesn't require them to be inside of your building. So the ones we use, they run Facebook, Google ads, they set appointments, they do all the follow-ups, follow-up calls, follow-up texts, all that sort of stuff. They can run a referral program for you. They can set birthday parties. What else, Doug?
Man, social media posting.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about Google, the new, what's it called? Google My some program. I don't know.
Google Business Profile.
Thank you. Yeah, that's how good I am.
Yep.
We got pizza parties. They can create things on Canva for you. I mean, a gazillion things that, we're currently either trying to do ourselves or paying somebody who's in our store to do it.
Yep. Right. So it really comes down to, if you're kind of thinking about it, there's 2 kinds of them out there, trained and untrained. The untrained VA is not unlike just hiring a local employee, kind of. You hire them, you run the ads to hire people, you do the interviews. I know one of my guys spent over $15,000 last year on Indeed, trying to hire people for he's got a big program, but man, that's over $1,000 a month he's spending just on that.
Yeah, we spent about $6,000 a month. I mean, total a year in Indeed last year.
There you go. So you train them. That's going to take you time and money. You monitor them. You're in charge of them. Accountability. That's some more time, some more money. You pay them, plus you pay all their taxes. I mean, Doug's in the process of moving over into more VAs now, but I think you said you're paying, the hell was it, 9,000 a month?
9,000 a month. Yeah, is what that's for the things that we're talking about right here. We're paying people about $9,000 a month to do.
Yeah, and that's just taxes or the whole payroll?
Yeah, that's a chunk.
Yeah, right. No, but I mean, 9,000, that's not your payroll, that's your payroll taxes, isn't it?
Oh no, that's the payroll, including taxes, just for them. I mean, we still got 20 other people, and that doesn't include me.
Right.
So that's, what is that? $108,000 a year to do these things that we were talking about that a VA can do.
Correct. And then, the old fun thing, you get to fire them, then you got to go right back to the whole process and rehire.
Well, the training process is ridiculous. How long does it take you to train somebody to do something remotely well? And it's weeks.
and there's been a bunch of reports on formulas you can use of what it really costs you when you lose an employee. By the time you go through this whole process again, it can get really expensive.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's kind of an important thing there. Now, the other thing there's companies out there that you can pay them and they'll hire people for you. They'll train them, they'll monitor them, they pay them, they fire them, they rehire them. Now, a lot of times or not a lot of times, well, more times than not, they're offshore. Sometimes there's some challenges with language barriers and that sort of thing, but there is a fair amount of companies, I'll show you some in here as we go on, that do this. And I've looked into several of those over the years, and we're utilizing some people overseas now in Dojo Max that are working really well, and it works out well. So let's go through 11 reasons or things, reasons I guess it is, that you can hire a VA, or you should hire a VA. Number one.
Why 11?
Yeah, I don't, because I couldn't come up with 12. It was late. I figured if you can't figure it out by 11, I can't help. So, but trying to do everything yourself, and this depends where you're at in your continuum of the growth of your school. Well, most of us all started out one person on the floor teaching and answering the phone and cleaning the bathroom and doing the sales and everything else. And we hopefully grow from that. But if we don't, you can really get caught up in trying to do everything. And number one, you can't grow. I mean, you just can't. There's a term, what's it called? The lid. I forget which book it was I read, but you hit that, and that's all that fits in the jar, man. And I've seen it happen. It happened to me. You work and you work and you work and you do it all. One day you get up and you head for the school and you don't want to go there anymore. They call it burnout. You just fry.
Yeah. I mean, the other part is if you don't go, nothing happens. So, I mean, close to the day, people get mad, they quit.
Right after burnout I had a school in a mall, one of the first schools in the country that was at a regular mall. Because I'd walk in, it was my first big school. They had a bookstore in there. So I'd go in, I'd glance through some books, and I'd go down and teach. Well, then as times got rougher and I hadn't taken some steps, I started reading more in the books. And then eventually I started buying a book and going home and not going in. And I was trying to do too much. I was trying to do my accounting and everything. It's just impossible. So now we don't have to necessarily bring someone in physically and hire them and put them on the payroll. There's ways to go out and get, let's call them part-timers or VAs, and utilize some of these tasks. So, and it is cheaper. I mean, you just talked about your payroll and payroll taxes, the rehires. I watched a video the other day. We utilize a lot of our VAs from here in Mexico, where I live, and a guy did a comparison of when you want to figure out the cost of living someplace, you don't look at how do you do that? You don't look at to figure out the cost of living. The best way to do it is figure out what they're paying people.
Right.
because that's what they have to pay them to live there. And they did a comparison between a fast food worker in the United States and a doctor in Mexico. And a fast food worker here or up there in the States makes about $15 an hour, which is about $31,000 a year. A first-year doctor in Mexico makes anywhere from $12,000 to $29,000 a year. So a doctor to live, but they do live like a doctor here. They're still living like a doctor. Things are cheaper. They're cheaper here. So therefore, if you can pay pesos to your VA and charge dollars to your karate students for tuition, that gap allows you to get things done way cheaper. And what we found down here is, man, the work ethic of people outside of the United States certainly seems to be dramatically better than it is in the United States by far. And that's another thing that saves you money. They just do a better job. You know, if you know, some of these people are working and you're paying them what you consider not a lot of money, but that's enough money for them to feed their family, have a place to live, and maybe a car. I talked to one guy, one of the VAs I used in Cebu, Philippines, and I asked him what it would take to live a middle-class lifestyle. He went, oh, with a car and a house? Yeah. He'll go a lot. That'd be like almost $1,000 a month. Yeah. Okay, Bubba. Now the problem with the ones in the Philippines, like we've got our guy, Paul, that's really good from the Philippines, but they're 12 hours time difference. So there's a little bit of a challenge with that. So what else do we got here?
Well, let's buzz on through these, Mr. Reed. We're 17 minutes in.
Got it. Oh, man. I'm dragging. Thanks for reminding me. So free up your time to do what you do best. Yes, that is a picture of me. And I was going to put that on there for two reasons. Number one, I can get my foot above my belt. And number two, I did have hair. Both of the things I don't have now. Now, the little boy went on to, that's Chris Shashan. He went on to open a very successful martial arts school up in Minneapolis. He became a world Muay Thai champion, doing great. But freeing up your time, when I say to do what you do best, this goes back to what I was just talking about, being a great martial arts instructor or providing great martial arts instruction. That's what we do. That's what we do best. Nobody joined a martial arts school and said, your first day on your intro, hey, could you teach me how to market schools? Could you teach me how to be an accountant? We got into martial arts because we love it. We teach martial arts because we love it. And anything that interferes with that, if we can get it off our plate, let's do that. Productivity. Our VAs or any VA should get the job done. As owners, sometimes we don't hold ourselves accountable. Sometimes for a business that teaches discipline, sometimes we're not too good at it. They are held accountable. They're held accountable because it's their job. Yeah. And if it's an accountant that you're utilizing, they have to turn in their P&Ls and their statements each month to you. If it's somebody that's doing your social media, they need to you need to see the productivity, and it goes up. I like this picture. But employee drama, and Jeff Cork works with Rudy Mick, and they spend a lot of time talking about this. And you know, as a lifelong martial artist, I've probably been to a dozen weddings from employees and students out of my school, and I've seen the good, as we probably all have, the good and the bad of the drama that can come from having a lot of employees. And it's just,
why do you think they don't have divorce ceremonies?
Yeah, right. They should. My best friend, I went to his wedding. I was best man. His wedding, he was best man. At my wedding, I was best man. His divorce, he was best man. My divorce. It works out. Build the value of your business. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this, but the more dependent your business is on you instead of systems and other people other than you, the less valuable it's going to be. And there's certain things that you can utilize these VI for. that can really, they don't know, wouldn't matter if you're there or not, or they're there or not. They're able to handle a lot of tasks that if you start checking this stuff off, you'd be amazed. If you want to scale, now I'm not a big proponent of multiple locations. I go back and forth with a bunch of my friends on that. But if you do want to grow, either the size of your school, I've got friends, Randy Holman has 1,000 students out on the West Coast. Jeff Burke has 500 plus. And if you want to have multiple schools, the way to do it instead of hiring individually is you can utilize these VAs. Here's the big one. They're probably better than you, probably a lot better than you. And me and Doug always say between the two of us, we've just about got 3/4 of a brain. So utilizing the VAs are a way to get someone with a higher level of expertise. Sometimes I want to do stuff with Excel spreadsheets, and I got several people that I work with a lot better than I am. That I have people that are so much better at running Facebook ads, and I don't even know how to run a Google ad. And we're running Google ads to get great results, but hiring people to do the job at a high level. I think the old thing used to be get people who are 80% as good as you. Well, maybe on the floor teaching. But on this stuff, I want somebody that's 150% better than I am on it. And
it doesn't take much for them to be 150% better than I am.
Right, exactly. Well, like we've got one of the people that work with us, Pilar. She worked in call centers for many years. I listened to her talk on the phone. She's head and shoulders above anything I've ever done on a phone call.
I used to answer the phone like it was an inconvenience.
Yeah. I knew a guy, he used to answer training. Sorry, and he said, and then he knew it. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Well, and then because we're not doing a good job of answering the phone, we get stressed. Nobody's coming in the door.
And it kind of goes back to number one on there, trying to do everything. It wears on you and it wears you down. And burnout doesn't happen in a day. It happens in 6 months, a year, 2 years. And you just keep getting beat down and beat down. And if you can offload that stuff, you can have people to carry the load. And now in this new day, in this new age, that can be done. When I had taken over a school a few years back, I ended up having to run the whole thing by myself, which I hadn't done in 20 years. And as I was running the school, I'm like, what can be outsourced? What's the one thing that only I can do? And the only thing I could do at that point was get on that floor and teach my ass off, and I loved it. Now outsourcing to building your staff and your leadership role, that's a whole different bucket of fish. But on here, the simple things, the simpler things that we went over, you can get rid of those, and it takes a ton of stress off you. Time. I have a birthday next month. I'm going to turn, I think, 68. And more you're on the back nine of that golf course, the more you start to realize the importance of time. When you don't have as much, what do they say? When there's less time in front of you than there is behind you, you start having a different attitude about things.
You really do.
Taking up 12, 14-hour days, there's a time and place for that, but it's not something you want to do forever. It's something that, as I said, as you get older, you start to realize the real value of time. And that's why Doug keeps reminding me not to run this thing for an hour and a half. We're at number 11.
Woo!
Here's my favorite one. It's the money, damn it. Now, listen, I tell our staff, the reason I hire you and I pay you is because you make us money. That's the only reason we do it. If you don't make money, you're going to be out of here. The reason you hire VAs is they make you money. All the other stuff's nice, get rid of the stress, but they got to make you money. And efficiency and expertise and effort make you money. And it's a lot easier to hold 5 VAs accountable than it is to do the 5 things yourself. And in the end result of that, there is going to be more money. So that's kind of the 11 reasons we have. Now, let's say these 11 reasons convinced you, yeah, I want to look into these VAs. How much do they cost? They can cost a little or they can cost a lot. You can get a $4 an hour new VA from the Philippines that English may not be their best language, or I pulled one up on one of the sites here. This is a top-rated executive virtual assistant. Gets $28 an hour. That's $51,000 a year. I saw some others on there that were getting $60, $70 an hour for some of these top-level, like real estate or law assistants type things. So it's kind of all over the board. So where do you find them at? Well, you go to Upwork. There's a bunch of them here on Upwork. I just looked in this morning. You can Google it. There's a bunch of them in there. Facebook, you can go in there. You can YouTube it. I was looking for one I couldn't find, but I just was too lazy to spend a lot of time on it. But there was a group out of the Philippines that would train people for you and do all that sort of thing too. So you just kind of go out there and do the research. I tried hiring, what do you call it? The company who did all the training for us. The problem was they really didn't understand martial arts.
Right.
And so I ended up training them anyway. So that's kind of the way that works. Or go figure. Dojo Max has a VA program. We're running that right now. We've been running it for 6 months or so and getting all the bugs out of it. These are our group of people. We're actually missing 1 or 2.
The 2 guys in the back don't do much. It's the 4 up front.
Well, that's why we have them. This is a neat little office we have down in Cozumel, Mexico. Cool little place. And just to brag on these guys a little bit, they are the hardest working group of people I've ever been around. They not only have let's call it the Mexican work ethic, they have the Cozumel Island work ethic. They all have kids. They all live on this beautiful little island. They all want to stay here. Jobs are not that readily available, especially good paying jobs. We're paying these guys pretty darn good. And this gives them a chance to live a good life on a Caribbean island. And man, they get it. They will. I'll tell you about it. We just enrolled somebody earlier today who called me up before this thing. And he said, well, how late did they work? They're not used to hours. We don't have hours. Just nothing for me to get an email or a text from Francisco. He's our GM here at 10 o'clock or 10:30 on a Sunday night. Hey, what about this? Let's do this. I get
messages all the time.
There, and I'm like, man, we want to go goof off. And like, oh, we got to do this and we got to do that. And let's go to here. And they just are busting butt and are getting better every day.
All right. So let me hop in with a quick story about that very thing. I was down there a couple of weeks ago. The group, we were all going to go to this little restaurant and eat and enjoy. We were going to just take them out and have a good time. And Francisco never even showed. He said, I'm busy doing work. And I'm going, how many times does your boss ask you to go out and enjoy a good night, and you're going, I'm too busy. But that's him. That's the whole group.
Yeah, they're just, and like I'll get a call or a text or an email from one of our clients. Can you change this on the website? I hit the forward button. If it's website stuff, it goes over here to Sarah. 10 minutes later, it's done. And it's just, and I look at this and I go, man, if I would have had this group working for me when I was running the karate school, I mean, their staff, it's cool as hell. So they probably wonder what this whole thing is. So the way that works is we've got a program that has all these lead generation programs, and it has a system called Lead Booker, which is the best software on the planet for nurturing, following up, and booking appointments. So their job, and I go back, these guys' job is to run this, get leads, and book the damn appointments. That's their job.
And more.
And more. This is their first responsibility. But I just got a call from Jeff Quirk. Can you guys make a landing page for an upcoming event we have? Said, write me what you want. We'll have it for you in an hour. We basically have, this is a staff that everybody gets to utilize. We're not going to have 300 accounts on this. We're really limiting this a lot. In case you don't know, I live on Cozumel Island. I didn't move down here and work 12 hours a day. We're limiting this thing. It's started for my old friends, and now we're going to open it up to a few people. So if we're going to open this thing up today, I'm laughing, but I'll tell you here why in just a second. We're going to offer a decent discount. Normally what we're going to charge for this thing is $2,000 a month. And to have a whole staff, a whole team, and you write a check for $2,000 a month, you couldn't hire somebody, I don't care what town you're in, to do everything.
I just told you I spent $9,000.
Yeah, right, exactly. You need to get your people switched over. And actually, I'm flying up there a week from Saturday to help facilitate that. So if anybody wants in, we're going to open up 3 spots. Now, I was going to change this because Jeremy Molly just signed up a couple hours ago before this thing's up. We got 2 spots left. I'm not kidding. And he said, I'm in. Where do I sign? And we sent him the deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to let people try this thing for 6 months for $9.97, save $1,000. And then at the end of 6 months, you'll do one of 2 things. You'll start paying $12.97 or you'll fire us. And if you fire us, that's our fault. And if we're not doing it, you'll fire us way before then. And otherwise, you're going to have a hell of a team, a hell of a staff for $1,300 a month. You ain't going to get any better than that. And I think we got. So if you want to take advantage of one of the 2 spots, go to dojomax.co/call-Randy and set up a call with me. That's one option. The second option, I'm sorry, we put the slides in the wrong thing. We're also the first school that jumps on board. We have a thing called Restart. We're going to take every lead you have that didn't enroll in your program and put them into our high-level Dojo Max follow-up nurturing system. And we've got 5-10% of those people that come in and enroll. So you're going to get a blast of new students. It'll definitely pay for your first couple of months of this thing. I know that. If you really want to jump on it, you don't want to talk to me. And me and Doug did such a great job on this high pressure sales webinar. Just go to dojomaxrocks.com/VA home. Oh, wrong slide.
That's our expertise.
Yeah, there you go. Sure. So the code is money in capitals, correct?
Yes, sir. MONEY.
Yeah, give me that money. So in capitals, money, go in there, sign up. The Restart deal with the whole thing is, there's a $7,000 savings. And we'll get you a bunch of students flying in the door. It's a great time to get going on this because we'll get everything set up and drilling and put together for in August and going into September. That is when things get hopping and we're really ready to go. Doug, you posted something the other day. You just got a whole bunch of leads, didn't you, for after school or something?
Yeah, we got 28 leads in 5 days. And more importantly, what Dojo Max does a great job of is they book the tours. So we booked 12 of those 28 leads into tours for after school in the next 9 days. So, I mean, those are ungodly real numbers.
Yeah. And what's an after school student work? How many?
Yeah. I mean, they're good for about $4,000.
Yeah. So if out of the 12, if you sign up 10 of them, that's $40,000 right there, right? 5 days. deal. Yeah. And so the thing works. If anybody don't believe it, then you can fire us. We're not big on this. But once again, well, I can't impress. Our biggest challenge, and this is anybody will answer, our single biggest challenge is getting the school owners to get us all the permissions and the accesses we need so we can do the things we need for them. That's the biggest challenge we're having. So what happens is when you make your investment, you'll get a link for to set up a call with Francisco. Francisco will take you through the onboarding process. It takes a bit because we have to have permissions for Google and Facebook and set up your accounts and all the stuff that's in there. You get we got great websites that we're building. They're beautiful. You get a free marketing website. You can drop your other company or keep your other company if it's getting you leads and use this one too. So there's a whole bunch of good stuff in there for you. We got 2 spots, buddy. So either jump on or go here. And I think if I remember, did I get this far? Where did I go here? Nope, we're on the, oh, no, we're going to put the, let me see, can I go all the way back up? We were supposed to put this on the end. So we prove that, you know, what we need to do is we need to have our VAs do this instead of us.
Yes. But
Sure.
it's a learning curve for me. I like it.
So you know, as me and Doug talked about, we're just a couple of karate guys. We're putting this stuff together. Doug, I think we looked at your school and you averaged this year something like 26 and a half new students, new enrollments a month. We're calling that our headquarters school, and everything's being beta tested and run through there, and it's working great. And these guys are doing it for you. So if you are interested in that, if not, if you want to go out and do the research and look around yourself, feel free to contact us. We'll be more than happy to put any input in if you feel that you have more requirements or something that we can't provide for you. We'll still be glad to help you on that. But other than that, 37 minutes. Darn it, I talked too slow. So sorry, folks. I wanted to have this done quicker, but hopefully you got some insights into it. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm out. Doug, you got any final thoughts?
I do not. We're just going to tell them, you guys hop on it if you want to be the first one to get an extra $1,000 prize. If not, that's okay. And we'll see everybody later.
I'm back.